Hey, welcome to The Long Shot. It is a podcast. I am one of your hosts. My name is Sean Conroy. Also with me today on the show, as always, the great, the magnificent, the Amber Kenny is here.
No. I don't mean any of that.
Yeah. No, I woke up this morning and then I had to record this other podcast, this podcast we do only for people who've never had COVID. And so you probably haven't heard of it.
I have not. Yeah.
So that's what, and then it turns out that I this morning was I sent Amber a link to to the Zoom for this show, and then I couldn't find it because I sent it at the wrong time, and then I got on and I was like, oh, let me go to this other thing. I have this meeting with Amber now, and then I couldn't find the link, and I was like, God damn it.
And I was sitting on the other link by myself.
Right. What a nightmare. This world is a goddamn nightmare.
It's not that bad.
I mean, this is the difference between us, is you're positive, I'm negative, and that's how we even each other out,
Yeah. I mean, the world is very bad, but it isn't because you had to send 2 Zoom links. I feel like that's the least of our problems.
I think that's totally fair. You're absolutely right. It just feels like it's bad for me, but it's really nothing. Although I did have a conversation with somebody today, somebody else who's dealing with some very serious health issues, and we were talking about the idea of going, well, at least you don't have this, and how that's like that's
at
like
least
the
you have your
worst.
health.
Yeah. But also it's like even when I mean, her point was even when things are really dire, she is like, at least I'm not in this situation. I'm only in this situation. And I was kind of which I think is fine to think about things like that, but I was kind of making the point of like, that's fine for you to say it about, no, that's fine for you to say it about yourself, but you can't say that to somebody else. You can't be like, yeah, you have all this stuff going on, but at least you're not this other thing, So I today was talking to various people and just saying like, at least you didn't send out the wrong Zoom link time.
No, I mean, this is my public service announcement for the day.
PSA, they call those.
Yes. Stop with that altogether. Exactly what you just said. If somebody tells you something that is bad that is going on in their life or something that is upsetting them, this is what you say. I'm so sorry to hear that. Period. Like, you don't need to try to diminish their pain or exactly what you're saying or compare it to something else or compete with it. Just say you're sorry to hear that.
This announcement brought to you by the Amber Kenny Church of Latter-day Saints.
But also mean it.
Yeah. And I think that is important because I think that everybody always, and I get it. People
they want to fix it or
they want to help in some way. And it's like some things are not to be helped. They're just to let the person feel their feelings. And well, it's not exactly the same thing, but I can remember when I was younger, I was always like afraid to go to wakes, afraid to go to funerals because I was like, I don't know what to say. And then I had the experience when somebody in my family died where all these people were there and some people were doing exactly what you're saying. Like, at least they didn't suffer for too long. They're in a better place. It's wonderful that they,
right.
And it's like, shut
you had the time
up.
You had.
Yeah. Shut up. But then other people were just like, I'm so sorry. I'm really, and that was so powerful on its own that ever since then I've gone to at least 3 funerals a day just so I can say to people,
at least I'm not dead.
No, but I'm not afraid of it anymore. Did it again. I beat another one. But it made me way less afraid of that, of like, it's okay to just say, I'm really sorry and not feel like you have to be like reassuring or make people feel better.
Or have this like wisdom that will change their point of view.
And to your point about meaning it, I think that's important too. Because we're in this weird time where now I'm specifically talking about death, but like people on Facebook are like, we lost my Uncle Jeremiah today or whatever. And people, and this is the same thing when it's
like,
not funny.
Like an emoji of us.
Well, not, yeah. A GIF of somebody going,
oh no.
Yeah.
It's like, are you making fun of my face?
No, thoughts and prayers. My thoughts and prayers are with you. My thoughts and prayers. And I think what you're saying is important is like you have to say it in a meaningful way. Like
right.
It's hard because it is sort of standard things that you can say. But when people just write thoughts and prayers, I'm like, the fuck does that even? First of all, prayers, like, let's be honest. That's not, there's nothing, you might as well just spit into the wind if you're going to pray. You know what I mean? Come on. If God is up there, he ain't listening to you, not you.
No,
of course he's listening to you.
He absolutely listens to me.
Anybody else,
and
though.
Also she, thank you very much.
Yeah, let's not try to rewrite her story, shall we?
Yeah, I guess that's a toughy toenail. Like, what would be an appropriate thing to write on someone's Facebook post?
I guess something like, I am so sorry to hear that. I'm really sorry for your loss, and I'm thinking of you, or something like that.
Okay, that's helping me because it's sort of like the same. It's a thoughts and prayers. It has the same meaning, but just
it feels
less copy and paste.
Yeah. And I keep a file that just says that so I can copy and paste it on Facebook.
Oh yeah, because who has the time?
It would take an extra 25 seconds. And if you think about how many people die every day.
Yeah, and you are on all of their Facebook.
Yeah, sleeping is 8 hours a day.
Then you gotta go to those 3 funerals.
I don't need to spend 8 hours writing, I'm so sorry, thinking of you.
Right.
My thoughts are with you. I'm not praying because I think that's a waste of time. Like that's, I've stopped doing that too. Like I don't say that.
Yeah. It's not saving you a lot of time if you are saying it. Right. Well, I guess because my initial gut feeling was that it's tough to have a sincere connection and communication about death via Facebook post. End of sentence.
I'm just glad that we replaced that convention where everybody had to say end of sentence when they invented punctuation, Like
it
Fred,
saves so much time.
8 hours a day. We're spending 8 hours a day saying end of sentence. Can we come up with an easier way?
Right.
What if we just put a little dot there? But yeah, you're absolutely right. And for a long time, I consciously avoided that. I was like, because I do think it's also weird to go like, Uncle Jeremiah was a guy, like write a long thing.
I do too, but I also get it that you don't want to like have that specific communication with each person right. Like it's a way to just be like, hey, this is where I'm at right now. So like I get both sides of it.
I do too, and that's why I just am indecisive all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do? I don't know so I just go to funerals, but I stand outside not sure whether I should go in or not.
And you just post on the Facebook wall and it's just gifts, but it's happy ones. Right. It's that Rob
Hubel.
Yeah, with the glitter.
Yeah.
That one's used at my work quite a bit.
It is funny when you see people in those things and you're just like, what the fuck?
Speaking of which.
Oh no.
Have you seen the new Mission Impossible?
No.
It is very good and I recommend it.
I've heard.
I don't know.
Apparently, I did not know this, but Tom Cruise does his own stunts in that.
I've heard that a time or two.
Yeah, like that seems like I was not aware that was a thing, but then somebody said it the other day and I was like, really? And
in passing. It wasn't like a huge part of the marketing campaign.
I imagine he didn't do all
Maybe
of them.
I misheard. Yeah, I'm not.
And I have to imagine, like, maybe he did one or two of them, you know, like, yes, he knows how to ride a bike, but he didn't do all of them. I mean, that's certainly
surely
not a possibility.
But I'm debating whether I tell you. I'll just tell you. But I had like when I was watching it. It's a very fun movie. It's action-packed popcorn summer movie. I recommend it.
Tom Cruise made his own popcorn for that movie.
Yes. But early on in the movie, someone who was in a writing class with me and you in your apartment is in the movie.
I know who it was.
Another Rob Delaney. But it was just like he's a very successful person, so that's not shocking, but it's still weird.
He's still just the dude who sat next to you at my kitchen table.
Yes, and he's like explaining what Mission Impossible is. Like he literally has the line that explains kind of the conceit of Mission
Some
Impossible.
people think this might be an impossible mission. I say it's a mission impossible.
I like grabbed Jeff. I was like, it's just so strange, and it's great for him. But yeah, that was a moment.
Yeah, that is wild. I mean, there are a lot of people like that where you're just like, what the fuck? This guy's in this. By the way, I should make it clear, Rob Delaney did not do his own stunts in Mission Impossible.
I was just going to say, I heard he did. It was walking into the room, sitting down on the chair.
Nope. They used a body double. They used a body double for him walking into the room. Well, that's one of the reasons the actors went on strike. They were like, I heard Delaney was replaced by AI in that movie. All right. Well, we thought, because it's been a few weeks, we thought tonight we would take a look at some viewer comments from our YouTube channel, which you can find on YouTube, which is called Sean Conroy Gets Happier, named after the podcast. Named after the podcast, The Long Shot.
It does its own stunts.
It's where we post all our video episodes, our audio episodes. No, the audio episodes go on all the podcast things like iTunes and
Spotify,
Snapcatcher. There's all kinds of BuzzFlow,
Audio Salad.
Yeah, it's on all of those. Truth Social. By the way, not to go, whatever, but did you see the thing? And I haven't even read the article yet, and I know it's going to drive me insane about Trump's plan for when he gets reelected and becomes president again.
No.
He's going to purge everybody and just bring in his own people in every, like the thing I just saw that was a clip from this article quoting him, or I don't know if it was quoting him or quoting somebody, but basically the Constitution was written by liberals, and it's time for a total overhaul of everything they said.
Great. Love it. I like that he's not hiding the fascism.
It is longer. Well, and somebody made this point last night on probably MSNBC, but they were, because MSNBC is like, we will not show any clips of Trump. That backfired in 2016, so we're not going to.
We're just going to talk about him constantly.
Yeah. And so, but this guy was like
him with a hood over his face.
I think that it's just a shadow outline. But this guy was saying, like, I think you should, because people need to hear how insane the shit he's saying is. I mean, he didn't say it exactly in those words, but like, what he's saying is so over the top and so crazy and so authoritarian and so fascist. I mean, he is becoming a crazy 20th century dictator.
Becoming.
Yeah, right. Something happened. Something happened where he took a dark turn. Yeah. Oh, that was not tasty. I think I may change my whole philosophy. That burger was terrible. So anyway, it was very distressing. Okay, so let's talk about some of the things people sent in. Here's the first one, and it is from Critelli Art. And I don't know if that's somebody named Art Critelli. In my head, that's like a store where you go to buy nice sketchbooks. You know, you go to Critelli Art, you
the person's name is Critelli and they do art like that.
Right.
You go to this YouTube channel.
If you need a mural on the wall of your business, come down to Critelli Art. Perhaps you need decorations around your apartment. Come to Critelli Art. Do you need a lawn ornament?
Oh, wow. Okay.
No, the end of that is, do you need a lawn ornament? Don't come here. Yeah.
Go to Home Depot or whatever.
Okay. This just says, disclaimer. This will probably, by the way, I'm reading this off my iPad and it is in the smallest font I've ever seen. So that's my disclaimer. Disclaimer, this will probably...
a disclaimer on top of a disclaimer.
I call that a disclaimer. That was a disclaimer of the disclaimer?
They say actually when in corporate America, you're supposed to do a disclaimer sandwich where you do a disclaimer, you do the actual disclaimer, and then you end with another disclaimer.
This will probably help 0%. I did not write this. It's in very small print, but it will probably help 0%. Speaking as someone with no success whatsoever, it's comforting to hear people that do have success also have a hard time getting anyone to care about their stuff. It's not Schadenfreude, it's fellow joggers on the beaches of Normandy taking a bullet in the neck the second we step off the boats. So apparently this person has confused the invasion of Normandy with a Tough Mudder, where there's joggers on the beach and people are shooting at them.
Yeah.
It was a 5K, but you took your life in your hands going through the tank traps.
And just because I am having a hard time, I think I figured it out by the end. Yeah. But we are the successful people that are having a hard time having people.
I love that part. I thank you so much, Critelli Art.
Where are they?
Can you make a portrait of that? Yeah. Do you need a portrait of yourself being successful? Come to Critelli Art. We will put you in a sash, in evening clothing, in a ball gown, in a seersucker suit. Come down to Critelli Art and get a portrait of yourself in a variety of.
So the taking away all of the analogies. We'll see if I actually, but we are successful and we talk about our struggles and that gives him comfort.
I think
and not like he's celebrating our failures, but it feels like relating to.
Yes.
Is that, I think that is the
my takeaway from this.
Translate every single one of these comments.
My takeaway from this is Critelli Art feels like we are successful. I'm sure we were complaining about how nobody listens to the show or something like that.
And like people coming to our show, like getting people to shows.
Oh, me getting, yes. Great. So that's exactly right.
I love this. We are like a detective agency, but our only clues
for
are
our own audio clips. Yeah. If you need a transcript of a former episode, come to Critelli Art and we will create one. We have various types of typography that you can use for your transcripted. Yeah. So yes, I'm sure. But what's also funny about that is like in my head, I'm like, I said it was that we don't have people listening to the show, but it was actually I don't have people coming to my show. So I was immediately going through a list of all the failures in my life of like, is he talking about this? Is he talking about this? You know, but I think you're right. It was me. It was probably me going, nobody's coming. These shows are amazing and nobody's coming to them.
But I and maybe this is me and my optimistic, we're different. That's why the podcast works. We have a slightly different POV on the world. But
I disagree, but
I don't think that you saying like, so it's tough to get people to come to my show was you taking a bullet in the neck. Like that feels
No, it was like a glancing graze off a bicep.
It was like tripping over a root.
Landmine?
No.
No, but I get how people, when they make analogies, they want to make it like
you gotta
hit hard, you know,
and up the stakes.
Right. I mean, making an analogy is like hitting somebody in the face with a sledgehammer, you know?
How so?
You just want to go, bam! Knock them right out. And sledgehammers are heavy. But I do like the fellow joggers on the beaches of Normandy thing, only because it makes me think of like two guys in headbands and wristbands.
Oh no, we missed time.
Gary, my heart rate is really high right now. And then it's like the Americans are, it's like Omaha Beach and, and I will say, this reminds me that I used to use the analogy of going up first at a stand-up show. Mm-hmm. It wasn't bullet in the neck. It was being the guy in Saving Private Ryan when they're attacking Normandy. I don't know if you are familiar with that movie. No. You never heard about this movie? It was...
I've heard of it. Yeah. you gotta see it.
17 minutes of the movie is the invasion of Normandy. Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Tom Sizemore, may he rest in peace. Barry Pepper.
You must have a Tom.
Well, I'm, Tom Sizemore. I'm thinking of him. My thoughts are.
I'm sad emoji.
Yeah, I did love him as an actor. But anyway, the whole beginning of that, and one of the first things that happens. I mean, that movie famously opens with the landing craft. They just show all the guys in the landing craft speeding towards the beach, and the boats are going up and down, and they're just packed in. And the first human sound you hear in that movie is somebody vomiting because of their seasickness as they're going in towards the beach. And then a couple of other guys do. I mean, it's just like, it very much conveys how awful that was in that moment. And then they get to the beach, and I don't remember exactly when it happens. I haven't seen the movie in like 2 days, but the ramp comes down because all these landing craft had ramps on them and people were supposed to run out. And the ramp comes down and the first guy just takes a bullet right in the forehead and is killed. And I used to, again, this is how analogies work. My thing was going up first at a stand-up show is like being the guy who comes off the boat at Normandy and takes a bullet in the head because it's
no good.
Tough. It's tough.
It's not fun.
Anyway, Spielberg is a master filmmaker, and Sizemore did all his own stunts in that movie. When he rode a motorcycle off a cliff. It didn't make sense, but it looked awesome.
It's so insane. Yeah. Mission Impossible.
Oh, of course. I just picture him being like just trying to which of course is what he's doing, trying to come up with the craziest stunts he can possibly think of, doing them himself. Like I kind of want there to be a moment in the movie where he's like, doing a backflip off the Eiffel Tower,
juggling
into a glass of Jello, whatever. And then at some point, as he's falling, he just like looks up at the camera and goes,
"Still me."
And you can tell it really is him. Okay. Thank you, Critelli Art, and we will be in to get a wall hanging for our. For our clubhouse,
a tapestry. No, but that is a very nice sentiment.
It really is. I mean,
we split every word choice, and I apologize.
Welcome to the show. But yeah, but he, I don't know if it's a he or she because there's a bunch of people that run Critelli Art.
Sure.
But it says it's not Schadenfreude, which is like not how you pronounce that word. Number one. But also, it's like when you take pleasure in somebody else's failure. So absolutely doing the opposite of that, not taking pleasure in our failure, just going,
But
It is
taking comfort.
relatable. Yes,
Yeah.
it's relatable that you guys are good at what you do and successful and still have trouble, because we just opened Critelli Art and so far things are not exactly selling out the door.
Right. The Yelp reviews are a little tough.
Do you like making spirographs or ceramic plant holders? Come to Critelli Art's Friday afternoon classes. What about the well, I'm lost. Okay, next one is from Rob, and it says Asteroid City sounds like Astro City, which is a comic book. And then he posted a link to the Wikipedia entry for Astro City. I wonder if,
It might be
it does.
a reference.
I'm doing it on my iPad.
Okay.
So it went right to this link. It did work.
How are you learning what the internet is?
I didn't know you could do that. Like, I didn't know an iPad. I thought you just had to like hook it up to power.
You had to get a different computer to go to that link.
Kurt Busiek's Astro City is an American superhero anthology comic book series centered on a fictional American city of that name. Created and written by Kurt, illustrated by Brett Anderson. First volume was from 1995 to 1996. Here's the heroes. You ready? Samaritan. Can you guess what Samaritan is like?
Like the hero. Good Samaritan? No.
Not just a hero, an extremely powerful hero.
Oh.
A time traveler. He appeared in this era in 1985, active as a hero since 1986. He's sometimes referred to as Big Red. The Confessor. Vigilante detective.
Okay, getting the truth out of people.
Cracker Jack.
Even though it makes it sound like he's the one confessing.
Right. His
Cracker Jack.
Sorry, this is the Confessor. His history is a blur of myths and assumptions, as dark as his crime-fighting methods. He is so dark in his crime-fighting methods. Cracker Jack.
Sidekick.
Egocentric, reckless crime fighter with amazing agility and a staff weapon. The Hanged Man.
Bad guy?
A ghostly figure appearing as a floating apparition with a burlap sack over his head and a noose around his neck, which I believe is actually Scarecrow from Batman, right?
Right.
Is rumored to have existed since at least the Middle Ages. I love things that play with time. I've talked about that before. MPH, aka the Excel. Well, there's like 50 of them. I don't want to go through the whole thing. There's literally like 50
an 11-hour podcast, and Sean was just reading a Wikipedia.
Can I just read the names of the characters?
You can do whatever you would like.
Jack in the Box. Jack in the Box.
That's fun.
Makes burgers.
No.
A clown-themed vigilante with no known powers, but agility and an arsenal of clown and toy-inspired weaponry.
Okay.
Clowning very big in Los Angeles right now.
There's a lot of vigilantes.
Silver Agent, Winged Victory, Beauty, Bridwell. These are the villains. Bridwell, the Conquistador, the Deacon, Infidel. Again, so Infidel became an immortal mystic during the Middle Ages and traveled through time to become a tyrant in the 36th century, then became the archenemy of Samaritan after Samaritan's heroics changed history, erasing Infidel's future empire. I'm just picturing this guy's apartment, and there's just like crazy timeline strings everywhere. Anyway, it looks really fun. Not funny. Fun. Although I will say there's a civilian listed here named Looney Leo.
That's funny.
Yeah. Who's actually a lion, apparently. So anyway, that is what's going on with Astro City, which is not exactly the same as Asteroid City, but sounds like it. So that was Rob who wrote that. Then Jamie Kaplan answered that and said, it's very good. Kurt also did an interesting 4-issue Superman story, the last issue of which is one of my favorite single issues in all of comics. So now I'm just going to read you some of the names of the Superman characters.
Okay, great. There's Superman.
Lex
There's
Luthor.
Lois Lane.
J. Jonah Jameson. No, that's Spider-Man. Okay. Next comment is from just to go back for a second. I do like when one person says something and somebody else comments on their comment. I would like to see if somebody could comment on a comment on a comment, so that it could be
infinity.
Yeah, so that it could be like the disclaimer thing where there's
a comment sandwich.
Yeah. Comment with a comment on top and a side of comment. Gerald Morton says the phenomenon Sean was describing in being disappointed in a good film because of expectations was described by a friend of mine as, I went to see a 10, but I saw an 8, so I gave it a 6.
That's a very good way of describing
it. I like it. Mr. Zaston says, is Sean related to 1982 World Series of Poker champion Jack Strauss? There is a picture of him with his finger on his chin, where he is sitting behind a giant pile of money, where he, in my opinion, shares more than a passing resemblance to him. Everyone Google image search him. It's like the third top result, I think.
Okay, I'm doing it right now, and I will share screen. What is the name?
So I'm going to, the name is Jack Strauss, and it is the 1982 World Series of Poker champion. So I'm making it possible for you to share.
Oh my God. I can't get on the internet right now, but I will in a second. I don't know what's happening.
This is where our show gets awkward and weird, is like, how do we vamp, you know? If we had a band, we could just cue the band, but we don't. So
yeah.
Did you find it?
I mean, here we go. Jack Strauss.
1982 World Series of Poker champion. That part I like. I want to be a poker champion.
Okay. I wonder how. Okay, I think I see the picture that he's talking about.
It's the third from the top.
Well, it isn't the third for the top for me. The internet is different for different people, but
I don't think that's true.
I think he means this. Okay. This is horrible. I'm sorry.
This always makes me nervous, by the way, because I'm like, this is going to freak me out that this is what people think I look like.
How do I? Oh, share screen. They changed things. You notice this?
Oh, now all of a sudden, when I have trouble every week ending the show and I'm such an idiot, it's like, oh, yeah, that looks exactly like me.
But I just saw the finger and the money is why I knew it was that one.
That looks like Paul Lynn fucked Wolfman Jack. So
he has a beard and glasses. Mm-hmm. I feel like that is the end of similarities.
And a lot of money. That's another similarity. Well, no, Jack Strauss, no relation, but
I'm curious how this listener was deep in 1982 World Series of Poker. Like, I would love to hear the story of how he even discovered that.
I feel like I could be wrong about this. We've definitely heard from this listener before, and I feel like there may have been a history of card playing with this person. Like, I could be totally making that up. No one will ever know.
But I feel like besmirching his good name.
Yeah, but I feel like there might have been something where it was like I was in Vegas playing cards, or something of that ilk, of that nature. All right, here is the next one, and it is from our old friend Heidi. And as tends to happen with Heidi's missives to the show, there's a lot here. I think that's great. I love that she pays. Text. Yeah, I love that she pays close attention. But I'm just saying, there's a lot.
Buckle up.
I mean, I didn't even read the whole thing. I'm just saying it's long, which is great because we have a certain amount of content we have to fulfill every week.
Right, legally with our.
A lot of it is just us blabbering, and it's like enough.
We're about to go on strike.
Right, podcast strikes. Okay. Heidi says, "Hiya, darlings. I've gotten massively far behind on low show viewing. During the lockdown days, Paul and I would watch together on his lunch hour, and viewing solo just isn't the same. I thought I'd put all my comments in the same place. I was going to say I thought I'd compile them here, but if they haven't been piled anywhere else, is it possible to compile them? Didn't want to offend Sean with linguistic wrongness."
Sean, could I stop you right there?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to prevent. I feel like it was not an attack on you.
I mean, she immediately out of the gate.
I don't think it was. I knew you were going to take it as such.
I just feel like, okay, so now it's like you look like Jack Strauss from the 1982 World Championship of Poker, who, by the way, I think was wearing a wig in that picture. I could be wrong, but to me that looked like a wig. And maybe I could, I don't know. I feel like I'm starting to lose my hair a little bit. Okay. So she would compile them here, but they haven't been piled anywhere else. I'm not going to push back on that because Amber has tried to disarm me. Number 1.
I'm just curious, though. I feel like compiled is fine, even if it is.
Of course it is. Of course it is. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I here's what it is. Heidi is joking when she says this.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm realizing now is like, she's not attacking me. She's making a joke.
Yes.
Number 1, charming new artwork.
I cannot take credit for it.
No, Cassine, who is a relatively new listener, who is the person who, if I remember correctly, started at the beginning and listened to every episode all the way through. The baker, correct.
Wow.
She's the one who did this artwork, and that's right. Isn't that right? That she started at the beginning and listened all the way through?
And she was disappointed to be like, without.
Which is a funny idea, and I think she said this in her note of like, it was funny to hear you guys in 2022 or from 2016 talking about 2016 and I don't know. Where's Cracker Jack? We're in the middle of Infidel's empire has been wiped out.
I see.
A weird time travel thing. Okay. Number 2, my guess for the celebrity Sean wrote for was Julia Louis-Dreyfus, mainly because I could so easily see her cry laughing at material he'd written for her. Very nice. That is compliment.
So nice.
Yes. Yeah. I appreciate that. It was not Julia Louis-Dreyfus, but that's a good guess. Julia Louis-Dreyfus is too, like, I bet she could write things on her own.
That's what I was going to say. I was like, she might have writers, but I think she also has some pretty good, because wasn't the whole thing about your being hired was the person didn't feel comfortable being funny or something like that? Or did I make that part of it up?
No, I didn't feel comfortable being funny because that is hard. It feels like jogging on the beach in Normandy.
Right. Well, I mean, it was like someone who wasn't comfortable public speaking in some way. And I wouldn't list Julia Louis-Dreyfus in that category.
It was somebody who was kind of doing that kind of thing for the first time. So it was not Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Please keep guessing, because if somebody gets it, what should I do if somebody gets it? Nobody's ever going to get it.
Buy them a brand new car.
All right, let's not get crazy. I bought you a new car. It's a Matchbox.
Send them a picture of you. Send them a picture that you drew of them getting a brand new car.
Great. Yes. If you.
That's very long shot podcast.
Yes. I can draw a car. It's very boxy, and it just has like the front and the back, the trunk and the engine are the same. Mm-hmm. And then there's just wheels, and it's a 4-door, and there's a steering wheel in it. And then I would try to make a bow on the top of it, but you wouldn't be able to tell what it was. It would look like a charger was plugged into the top of But I would, and then I would draw a picture of them getting the new car. So
and being like, yay.
yeah. If somebody, and then Rob Hubel throwing glitter. If somebody guesses who the celebrity is,
you will
I
send them
will
a
draw
picture.
a picture of them winning a brand new car and send it to them.
That is a great prize. I'm glad I thought of it.
Yes. I might even make a collage of them getting a new car from, like, winning a new car from me. And if I did that, I would print out a photograph of Jack Strauss, the 1982 World Series of Poker champion, and use that as the photo of me. Yes. Okay. Number 3, on smashing the like button, I'm reminded of my early pod listening days and excitedly telling the hubster that an episode I was especially looking forward to had just plopped. He kindly laughed at me, and that's when I realized that Doug Benson wasn't using an industry standard term. So that's not something I'm aware of. Am I saying something wrong when I say smashing the like button? I thought that was Doug Benson told me that's what you're supposed to say at the end of your
No, I think
is it you're supposed to hit reply all? What's the thing you say?
I'm trying to get the language together to explain what I think is going on. I think that smash is like a fun way of saying it.
Mm-hmm.
It is correct, but it's like a silly. It's like it's adding some sauce when you could just say like hit the like button, truly, or like this video. So it's a fun way,
right?
And I think that is the connection she's making. But I have heard smash in other circumstances.
So maybe say like smash the like button with a sledgehammer in the face.
Right, like on the beaches of Normandy.
Number 4, just finished the ep where Sean shares the revelation that it's both possible and pleasurable not... Wait.
I'm scared.
To suck your own dick. I don't remember that episode. Just finished the ep where Sean shares the revelation that it's both possible and too pleasurable not to do. Oh, I see. Using 2 towels at once. Delighted for Sean, and like Amber, I felt unsnarkily, sincerely proud of Sean for reinventing the robe. Not sure where you're at with merch.
Why are you upset? We need to explore that emotion really quick.
I know she's saying unsnarkily, but I feel like when she says reinventing the robe, it's like saying,
"You idiot."
Yeah. You could have just done this other thing. You think you're so smart for using 2 towels? Hey, here's an idea. What if you sewed those 2 towels together? And what if you shaped it into something that wrapped around it? What if you cut a piece of those 2 towels off and made it into a belt and wrapped the belt around your middle? How about giving it a shawl collar? Anyway. By the way, coincidentally, I did, not even kidding about this, it hasn't come yet, but I ordered a robe recently because I want to be one of those guys who like walks around the house smoking a cigar in a robe and slippers.
What kind of robe? What material are we talking?
I think it was, what do they make bulletproof vests out of? Kevlar.
Mylar? That's something.
Mylar. It's Mylar, so that if I fasten it up, I can inflate it and float away. No, I think it's just a cotton, like, I don't know what, like a terry cloth or something like that. Like, I tried. I mean, the problem is that I didn't want it to be too heavy because this is California.
Sure.
It just would be nice to not always be like trying to hold 2 towels together, be able to just drape something over my shoulders. So anyway, and I did have the robe monogram, so it's going to say Heidi on it.
It is really funny to be like, ugh, she thinks I should get a robe. I did get a robe.
Well,
Like, that's a funny moment, Sean.
okay. Number 5. Speaking of, my contribution for the new Lo Chapeau t-shirt tagline motto, inspired by Sean jokingly accusing Amber of failing upwards and her quick correction of his statement, I nominate succeeding upwards, with the possible addition, in honor of those of us who are also on Sean's I'm doing this on purpose, this is how my diet exercise plan is supposed to go, of succeeding upwards and outwards. I do like that. I like succeeding upwards and outwards. It's like, it's taking the power back, you know?
Okay. Interesting. Because my first instinct, without context, it feels too sincere. Like, to wear a t-shirt that says, like, I'm succeeding upwards, like, it feels very motivational speaker. And I think that is what she's going for.
Mm-hmm. I take back everything I said.
No, but do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
I do.
Like you're supposed to succeed upwards. Like, there's no twist.
Right. Oh, I see. So failing upwards makes more sense because it's a little twisted.
Yeah, there's like a humor involved.
What if it was failing upwards, comma, succeeding sideways?
I like that. Well, I just picture like a room full of people who paid $10,000 to go to a motivational talk, and they're like, you should succeed upwards. Everyone's like, oh, like, I don't know.
Welcome to my TED Talk. Today we're going to discuss failing upwards, comma, succeeding outwards. End of sentence. We are going to do this, by the way. I know I keep saying that, but like, I get so close every week and then something happens, like somebody gets COVID and I don't have
I'm so sorry.
But
hey, Sean.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Thoughts and prayers. But did you ever, I think I sent you
yes
the Chat GPT thing. Did I send you that thing?
Yes.
Of like the description of the Long Shot podcast?
It confused me, but I guess that's what it was supposed to do.
I just thought it was interesting because I put like a few things in and said, write a description of a show that's like
Let me see if I could find it and I can read some of it.
Yeah. Because I just think like we're still doing this show and we don't really have an identity or a description or, you know. And by the way, if anybody out there is listening and you feel like you have one that really nails it, feel free to send it in and I will, as a gift to you, I will draw a picture of you winning a helicopter.
You must have emailed it to me. I'm not seeing it in chat.
I think I did. But like, I was listening to another podcast the other night.
And they described what the podcast was.
Well, no, it was literally about branding your podcast. Like, what do you do to get people to listen to your show? And the thing he said, which really struck me, was like, you kind of have to draw lines in the sand so that some people like it and some people are like, I would never want to listen to that, you know?
Right.
And I feel like for us, it's always just been like, we just talk about things.
I have no idea.
That's my impression of Amber, by the way.
I have no idea where.
That's all right. That's all right. But anyway, I'll find it again because when you go on ChatGPT and you,
I found
it. Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Should I read the whole thing?
It's really long. I think.
Yeah, I'll start. I'll start.
Yeah.
Because you've been doing lots of reading.
Yeah.
So this is the new name.
Right.
Life and Laughs, Tales of Mundanity. Is that how you say it?
Yeah. Which
already, ouch, but true.
But that,
is a hilarious and relatable podcast that invites listeners into the world of two best friends. This is where I got really confused.
All very true so far.
This is where I started getting confused. Okay. A relatable podcast that invites listeners into the world of two best friends, Jane and Mike.
Oh, I forgot to. So I should have put this in the email, but we would have to change our names legally.
Okay. Jane, a sharp-witted corporate executive. Okay.
I know Jane. Yeah.
And Mike, a witty writer and comedian, embark on delightful conversations where they explore the ordinary events that make up their lives. True so far. With their unique perspectives and quick comedic banter, they navigate the roller coaster of everyday experiences while finding valuable lessons and endless amusement along the way. Why did they change our names?
Oh, I don't think I put a name in.
Oh,
I just said.
I was like, they're like, these names have got to go.
Chat GPT is trying to take over the world by forcing everybody to change their name. If you would like to be considered for a new podcast,
you must
have
Jane
the name
and
Jane and Mike.
Okay, I won't read much more, but I'm going to read a little bit more. In each episode, Jane and Mike dive into the nitty-gritty details of their lives, from morning mishaps to mundane office dramas and everything in between.
That's like one thing in between those two things.
Something that happened at 9 a.m. and something that happened at 10 a.m. Through their witty exchanges, they discovered unexpected insights, sharing valuable lessons they've learned from their contrasting worlds. Whether it's Jane's tales of navigating boardrooms and corporate bureaucracy,
absolutely true,
or Mike's comedic adventures in the entertainment industry, their conversations offer a refreshing blend of personal anecdotes and humorous observations. It keeps going, but yeah. I think when I hit Jane and Mike, I was like, wait, is this the I got so confused. I was like, is this the description of a podcast you like? Like, it's not us. We're not Jane and Mike.
We're not Jane and Mike. No, I just put in a couple of search terms and I said, write a because to me, that's always been the thing I've hated the most about any show I've ever done, any bio for myself I've ever written, any description of something I've ever done is like, I just hate writing about things I do myself because I'm like, I'm all fucked up about it, you know, because it's like, I don't want to brag about anything.
What search terms did you put in? Mundane must have been in there because they keep saying it over and over.
Mundane, witty, best friends. I do think it is funny to me because I feel like they use the word witty like 4 times. And it's like, clearly ChatGPT has very limited vocabulary about certain things.
It'll learn more. It'll take
but it kept on going like, they are witty and also witty. They like wit and they are witty. So anyway, I'm just trying to
everything can be amusing.
Right.
Through the lens of friendship and comedy.
It sounds pretty similar to a lot of other things.
It is funny how much they're underlying. Like, they talk about boring
nothing.
But also not incorrect.
They explore every topic from not being able to find your keys to finding them.
And everything in between.
It's like going jogging on the beaches at Normandy. Okay. So that was the tagline thing. Number 6, wonderful Philip. Very kind of him to mention me and my showing up on a listener-based episode of Stop Podcasting Yourself. To clarify, he was joking. Neither Dave Shumka nor Graham Clark could be described as gorgeous, godly fucks. Have to nominate Philip for best memory as well. One of the best podcast fans ever, with some stiff competition from the likes of Frank and Scott and Felipe and more. Anyway, I'd completely forgotten that line. Thank goodness for Philip. So that's our friend Philip in Canada. And that was from a very long letter that Heidi sent a long time ago, which had a lot of very thoughtful things to say, like this. Number 7, so happy that life with Smudgy has gotten a bit easier. I'm high strung too. Smudgy, I see you. So, and you know, I don't know. Heidi doesn't say this in her note here, but I do know, I've heard this from the Hubster, that Heidi constantly goes in the bushes to get chicken bones. So.
And she just screams at the top of her lungs occasionally.
Yes. Number 8, winding down here, I swear, penultimate thought. For newer listeners/viewers, I wonder if the author of the limerick, "Snow in April is a must in my country," would allow her animation to be posted here. We can look into that. That would be fun to have that on our
was a good
podcast
one.
page, which is Sean Conroy Gets Happier on YouTube. That's our channel. Okay. Here's number 9, final chunk. This is jumping back a while. But around the time of the reversal of the Roe versus Wade decision, Amber shared how she'd been in such denial she hadn't been able to discuss it with her friends in real life. It felt quite touching to me that Amber brought that vulnerability to the podcast recording. I remember thinking, but somehow she's able to talk to us, or at least Sean, about it. Or maybe it was just the timing of it all, but I felt obscurely honored that Amber would share something like that with us without having processed it with others first. At the same time, I didn't as personally relate to what Amber had shared about until the decision was finalized, and I felt shocked and mostly unable to process it. Something that really helped was remembering Amber experiencing something similar, shocked and out of body. That shared experience of dislocation felt like a kind of anchor. Ever since then, I've been wanting to write and share this. I meant to reach out one-on-one to Amber, but perhaps this is better. Perhaps other people who have felt like this will listen and be supported in making sense of that shock and disorientation. About Roe versus Wade, or about any number of deeply distressing and disorienting things occurring in our world right now. As a thank you to Amber, I wanted to offer this podcast recommendation, the Design Matters episode with Starlee Kine. The whole episode is a banger. The host did tremendous research, and Starlee shares many things I've never heard her talk about elsewhere. But what I most wanted to gift Amber in connection with this is the knowledge that Starlee talks about Columbo as an inspiration for her own exceptional mystery show podcast. I tracked down the timestamp. The Columbo story begins 2.5 minutes in. I think the mystery show convo begins about 40.5 minutes in. So I think that means the Columbo discussion begins 2 minutes into the discussion that begins 40 minutes in.
Yes, I think so. I haven't listened to that podcast, but I did listen to Mystery Show, and it was great. It was a great podcast. I feel like I did nothing to comfort anyone, but I'm glad that it was comforting to just experience a similar thing. It's the Normandy Beach all over again.
Mm-hmm.
We're providing comfort by just
being uncomfortable.
Yes, I guess so. Like in a mundane way. And everything in between.
Two best friends talk about Roe and Wade and everything in between. Versus. Okay. Here, thank you, Heidi. That was sorry. It says love you, onwards and outwards, XX Heidi. I mean, I do love getting stuff from Heidi because it's like
it's so thoughtful.
Got a lot to say. Yeah. And like she pays attention, you know. Not that everybody else doesn't pay attention, but like she has stuff to come.
No, that you were attacking everyone that wasn't Heidi by saying that.
It is not easy to live my life. I'll tell you that right now. Protege 5. Right. Oh, that's Phil. Writes in response to this, writes, hard to believe it's been a year since the disastrous Dobbs decision, and they delivered more devious dealings recently by screwing student debtors and two SLGBTQIA plus folks. Many Americans are unaware, I'm sorry if I said that wrong, many Americans are unaware that in parliamentary democracies, such as here in Canada, The Supreme Court do not have the power to override the will of the people via judicial review. On a lighter note, welcome back, Heidi. Glad you've caught up on the Low Show Poe lowdowns, and say hi to Paul too. So
the hipster.
That's what Phil had to say. Yeah, Canada is a parliamentary democracy. U.S. is a democracy, but the Constitution was written by a bunch of fucking weeping liberals, and it's time for a change. It's time to, make sure that people, the right people, are getting what they want. By the way, I'm going to read the next one, but it is, remember how I said before, the font that's on my, is the smallest font I've ever seen. It literally reduced by 50% in this next
It's so funny. It's like it's one of those eye
like
tests.
a Russian doll. I was same
we
thing.
both were like, yeah.
Well, in Russia, optometrists use Russian dolls for the eye test. They're just like dull.
In Russia,
dull.
The
eye test uses you. Yeah. Okay. The next one is from Sneakaloo. And it says, I would watch a series of animated shorts that was just little claymation characters with Sean doing his Irish gibberish voice. Gibberish. Every word of that is carefully thought out.
It's Shakespeare.
Who are you calling gibberish? But thank you. I hope that comes about someday. I was actually thinking recently, because I've been, obviously everything is on strike right now and there's nothing going on, but that doesn't mean people aren't like, let's do something when this all ends. And I was thinking recently, because I don't know if you remember this, no reason you would, but maybe some people listening remember, I did one episode of a podcast about 13 years ago called The Flabbergast, where
I do remember
sketches,
that was
and I did
13 years ago.
Yeah, and I did all the voices. And
because you had a live show as well.
Sorry, 13 years ago. No. It might have been 4 years ago, not 13 years ago. No. It was a long time ago. I don't know if I ever had a live show. I think it was just.
I thought you had some sort of show. I don't know. Well, we could talk off air. That you had a live show that
Folks,
was very
you are
similar.
not privy to this discussion. Two best friends discussing everything from the beginning to the end and whatever is in between those two things.
You had a live show that had a premise about like an object.
Yeah. Oh, that was the Great American Cabinet of Curiosities.
Okay. I'm confusing the two. I like melded the two.
No, Flabbergast was a sketch show, an audio sketch show.
That's a lot of work because you have to write them. Oh my God,
it was a crazy amount of work, which is why I only ever did one episode.
Us just rambling, not a lot of work.
This is quite a bit of work to write down all the things I'm going to say when our headset's coming out of the box or something like this and everything in between. But yeah, that was the problem. Was it took like 2 months to do 1 half-hour episode, and I was like, I can't do this on a regular basis. But I was thinking about it the other day, and this is off this animated shorts comment. I was thinking about sending it to an animator, not to have the whole thing animated, but to say, can we put something together, like a 3-minute version, and say to, go out with a show that is a half-hour animated sketch show. Like, I think that would be
that's fun.
And what was cool about that show, so many things about it were so cool. But what I liked about it was, and it was not by any stretch was it accurate all the way through, but it was written in such a way that it was almost like an improv show or a Harold or something where everything was interconnected, and like you'd hear in one scene talking about what they had watched on TV,
and then you'd see that TV show.
It was all so it felt like a fun thing and everything in between. Okay, next one is from Rob Scheimer. Now, Rob, I think, has told us before that he watches or listens to the show and comments as he's going. Like he's
Oh,
just like,
right.
this is
So
a thing that's interesting.
And sometimes it'll be like, you guys should say this, and then he's like, oh, you just did, kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So he says here, and I don't remember this discussion, but he says, should I dress for the job I want if the job I want is astronaut? I don't, what do you think about that?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I guess I could go a couple different ways. I'm getting tired. I'm very hot. But one, like, yes, but also astronauts only wear the astronaut suit when they're in space. Like they probably have a different, like, every day in the office attire.
I think they wear like coveralls, don't they? Isn't that what you see astronauts in? Like a one piece thing that goes all the way up and down, like with or, you know, here's another version is that astronauts could wear two towels made into a robe of some sort. But I think if you're an astronaut and if you want to be an astronaut, yes, absolutely dress if you have an actual astronaut suit, because what else are you going to do with it, you know?
Right. And it's a great way to communicate to other people that you want to be an astronaut. And that way, if there is some opening for an astronaut, you'll be top of mind.
Like if you're just on the bus, people are going to be like,
people are like, oh,
I know where that guy's headed.
My uncle's trying to hire an astronaut. Maybe I could connect you two.
Here's my card. Okay. Next one is from Jake McKelvey, who does all kinds of music stuff for our show, which is always so generous. Also wrote a song for my short film that I ended up not using because something else came along, but it was such a good song and it was really hard to make that decision because Jake, you know, worked his ass off on it.
Right.
I was so uncomfortable and I emailed him and he was so gracious about it. He was so nice. He was like, it's an artistic decision. So, you know, you can't really, which I just thought was amazing. So Jake says, I usually turn these off. There's more. Before the song. End of sentence. Before the song kicks in at the end, because it's his song. He knows the song so
it's like listening to your own voice or something.
I mean, I always turn this off before I hear my own voice.
Me too.
I usually turn this off before the song kicks in at the end, but in this case I didn't, and I was reminded that the inclusion of the phrase "time marches on" in the lyrics of this song came directly from Sean, who used to use that phrase on the show a lot. I believe it was usually during the 1972 the printing presses invented bit format. I like how that's a bit format. Like
it is kind of.
We did it enough times that, you know, it just was like, this is a regular thing on the show, the newsreel bit. Well, that's nice of you to say, Jake. I'm glad that Time Marches On made it into a song because, you know, life goes on and time marches on. So, you know who time doesn't march on for? The Infidel, because he's a time traveler. The next one is from Buddy Dude Guy.
That's a good name.
Which says, I can't believe you called me a dog. And I really can't believe you messaged me that while sober. Oh, I forgot that we're a sober podcast. I got to tell ChatGPT that, you know.
These
two sober, witty people.
With their mundane lives.
They are not at all fun. The stuff. Go ahead.
This is the person that you, at least in theory, they're at least presenting as the person that you messaged.
He contacted me over Facebook and said, this is a song by the Decemberists that references Shankill Road, which is where I went when I was in Belfast, which was a very important part. It was like the dividing line between the Catholics and the Protestants in Belfast when there was all the troubles going on from the 1960s to the 1990s until the Clinton Accords, which ended all that, or ostensibly ended all of it. So he sent me that, and that was the one who I messaged. And again, if you have children in the room right now, cover their ears or get them out, because he was the one that I messaged, cock blocked by dog.
That's our t-shirt.
This show is so mundane, and yet their t-shirt is outrageous. Yeah. I know what they're all about. Okay, so I can't believe you messaged me that while sober. The stuff you messaged random strangers you've never met over 4 years ago must have been fucking wild.
You don't seem like you would get drunk and chat people on Facebook, though. No. That doesn't seem like your MO.
No. That was not.
Joe, yes.
Oh, yeah. Joe was very Facebook positive and probably still is. Probably a couple of beverages, and then let's see who's out there and who will respond. Yeah.
That was me typing.
Yeah, I got it. I didn't even have to look. I could tell. And then the last one is Shannon. Oh, Shannick. I'm sure it's Shane K. 7053.
Yeah, that's fun.
Says 1 step late.
I don't know. Do you know what that means?
It was something. I mean, it's on the tip of my brain, but it was something about. I don't know. It was something about jogging on the beaches of Normandy.
I didn't know if it was like a 12-step reference.
I think it was. I think you're right. I think I said something about, however many steps there were, and I was always 1 step late or something like that. But anyway, those are our YouTube comments. And yeah, I love it when people have stuff to say. Whether or not it's attacking me, I still enjoy it.
I mean, it all is. Let's be honest.
Well, I think 1 step late was blatantly directed at me and my tardiness,
So not just echoing back a line that you said that they enjoyed.
I get it, Shane K 7053, and I will try to be on time next time. Well, it's happened tonight. I was late to the thing, and I'm sorry about that. It just was a long day. So that's our show, and like I said, if you have an idea, I actually am fascinated because I'm like, how would you describe this show to somebody who had never listened to it before?
Right.
What would you say? And
also, like, this is a sub question, but like the newer listeners, like the baker, I can't remember anyone's name. I'm so sorry. Like, what
the baker, the candlestick maker,
the
tailor, the butcher,
Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Spy. What about it drew you in? Like, why did you listen the first time, and why did you keep listening? Because knowing those core things is a good way to brand ourselves,
right? And if the thing is like, here's my fear.
Mundane best friends. Like, we'll lay into that. I guess.
Yeah. Here's my fear. But if it's this, we have to embrace it because we're drawing lines in the sand of Normandy, the beaches of Dog Beach. Is like if the people who listen to the show are like, I just love how boring it is.
Do we get more boring? Or are we just like, yeah, I was thinking about painting my house, but I didn't.
All right. Well, you might want to go down. If you're going to think about painting your house, you might want to go down to Critelli Art, where they have all sorts of painting supplies. And another choice might be aluminum siding. I know a lot of houses with aluminum siding. There's some shingle. If you're in the Northeast, particular areas of the Northeast, do a lot of shingle, wood shingle, tar paper shingle. Anyway, we'll be back in a moment with more from
us.
What if we just ended the show like this?
Dane and Mike. I have to get out of this room. I'm gonna die.
Okay, folks, this has been The Long Shot. Please like the subscribe button
and smash it
and hit it with a sledgehammer. And we'll see you next time on The Long Shot. Bye. Now I have to do this, right?
Mhm.
I'm recording.
Yeah. We have an air conditioner. I'm okay if this is recorded. We have an air conditioner in our bedroom and we call it the cool down room. And Jeff's like, they should figure out a way to make a cool down room the whole house. And I was like, they have. We just don't have it.
Jeff's like, get the fuck out of here. No way. How could you do that?
He was kidding. I mean, he was joking. He's not.
Yeah. Oh no, so was I. I was.
Yeah, we all were. We're all in on it.
I'm always joking. That's my
Are you
thing.
really struggling this?
Yeah, because I'm talking. It's very distracting. Okay, goodbye.
I started too soon, like wanting you back and spending my cash on things I don't use at a tiresome rate and listening